Let's just shoot the shit.
That's kind of where I thought this was going.
Shoot the shit. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
How about this? You guys always start your episodes with the guests, like the elevator pitch. We'll start with your guys' elevator pitch.
Okay.
Oh God, good Luke, you're not it.
Well, why I joined the military, army, and infantry? It's
maybe in that order.
Well, the military, just because it was always something I wanted to do. And actually, I would say starting from ages like 11, 12 to when I started to realize what like SEALs were, what Green Berets were. And especially when GWAT kicked off, I think I was in the seventh grade when 9/11 happened. So like from then on, it was military. And of course, I wanted to be a secret squirrel. Then I got sidetracked. I ended up... in a former life, I ended up going to a deeply conservative Southern Baptist college because I thought I was going to be doing mission work. That lasted about 3 weeks, and I was like, nah, fuck this place, I'm out. And so, ironically enough, I left because I didn't want to have to bend the knee and conform. So I joined the United States Army instead.
Did the conservative Christian college put a cap on your beer budget? And you said no.
Yeah, no. Well, I hadn't quite graduated up to beer. I was still like drinking, friends' sisters' leftover vodka at that point.
Luke didn't switch to beer until after he got out of the army.
I was a late bloomer on beer. Yeah, and I regret that immensely because I would like to know what it like to have been like to come home and just soak that first cold beer back as I'm taking off my uniform.
But instead, you came home and you soaked back that first
bourbon and
Coke.
That's a solid drink. I mean, it's not a bad drink at all.
And when I say came home, I mean came home from PT.
True. No, I will not. I will neither confirm nor deny, but I certainly
7:30, 8 a.m. bourbon and Coke to get the day started. I don't blame you.
I'm not saying I was ever asked to go find out why Luke didn't make it to first formation at 9:00 and found Bailey's and coffee and
rum,
but it might have happened.
Yeah.
I did that in my ruck. I put it in my camelback for a ruck march.
Ooh,
yeah.
Well, that's a bold move. I will say
that's a single use camelback right there.
It was. Well, yeah, the bladder was definitely single use, but I made really good time on that ruck march.
What was your secret sauce recipe in there?
It was just coffee and Bailey's.
Oh, really? Nice.
That's all you need.
Nice. Get
Yeah.
that.
I do like the spice, like a little bit of Makers in there as well, like Bailey's, Makers, and coffee. It just Bailey's itself doesn't have enough of a kick for me.
I thought of doing Jack and Coke, but
that
was
was
like
way too sweet. No way.
it was a 20K ruck march, and I had to go to work afterwards.
Yeah.
Granted, by the time I got to work afterwards, they said, "Oh, just go home." So maybe I could have done Jack and Coke. Passed
that's
out after about kilometer 14.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about like this infantry versus intel kind of thing, but that is interesting that you would go to work drunk. But I know for a fact that there were many times the skiff there wasn't a sober person in that skiff.
You mean every Monday?
I think it's just the military in general.
That is an intel culture thing to be drunk in the skiff.
True, right? And you're not supposed to talk about it.
I've never been in an intel skiff and not seen something. Well, this is obviously civilian skiffs, but
I have never been drunk in a skiff, but I have been hungover in a skiff plenty of times. I've been drunk at PT, but I've never been drunk
I have
at work.
never been drunk in the cockpit, but I have been hungover in the
What kind of pilot are you? You're not drunk in the cockpit.
12 hours bottle to throttle is just a recommendation or something like that.
It's a pretty firm rule.
Yeah, right.
But it's not bottle to throttle. It's 12 hours from last effects. Which definitely was violated on a frequent basis, especially on cross-country trips through college towns.
No
way.
No, the consummate professionals in the United States Rotary Wing, U.S. Army Rotary Wing, would never stand for such lack standard.
No, it would definitely never stop in college towns to hit on college girls.
Isn't Rotary Wing basically the infantry of the aviation world?
Attack Rotary.
Oh, okay.
But Blackhawk pilots don't get that. No.
Oh, okay.
They're the Uber of the aviation world.
Uber Lyft.
I kind of meant more like the personality. You know, there's like the fixed wing aviator,
the attack community is.
Yeah, Apache's. Well, a lot of those dudes are former.
Most of us are. Yeah, most of us are.
SF or whatever.
It's
but
okay.
yeah, well, a long walk for a short drink of water. So I decided to join the infantry because, you know, when you're 8 years old and you're out in the woods of Kentucky playing Army, that's what you're playing, right? So I walked into the recruiter's office, and I had done a little bit of research online beforehand, and I figured out what the nomenclature was, 11 Bravo, all that stuff. And oh man, this is so cringy. I'm almost embarrassed to admit it. But they were like, "You sure you want to do infantry?" And I was like, "Yeah." And my verbatim quote was, "I want to be the guy out there in the streets kicking in doors."
They got you.
And this guy leaned back in his chair. He's an E6. He leaned back in his chair and he looked up at his buddy who was next to him. And at the time, I thought he was thinking like, "This kid's fucking hardcore. He's ready to roll." No, it was the like, "Look at this stupid fucker." Got him. And it's like, we got him. And so
his numbers are going up.
They gave me a yeah, exactly. They gave me a Ranger contract, which I dropped fairly quickly after when I got into basic training because I didn't want to be in TRADOC for 8 months. And so yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Just I wanted to be in the infantry, and I definitely got to be for all of its warts and all. Yep.
Probably would have kicked in more doors if you had kept on to that Ranger contract.
Well, I didn't even know what Rangers. There. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what Rangers were. He just kind of like I was. Oh, here's another thing that kind of motherfucked me on this is I wanted air assault because I thought you had. Sorry, I wanted airborne because I wanted to be in the 101st because it's in Kentucky and I'd be like 4 or 5 hours from home. Not knowing that you didn't have to be airborne to get into the 101st Airborne. So going through basic training, I would say 90% of my company went to the 101st, and about 7 or 8% went to Germany. And then there was about 4 of us in the entire fucking company that went to 3rd ID. And of course, that's where they stuck my ass. Probably because I dropped my Ranger contract and fighting my ass.
Savannah's not bad though.
It's not in Savannah.
Not in Savannah though. It's in
That's the problem.
Yeah,
it's close enough.
No, it's not.
Savannah's awesome because I got assigned there to a guardrail unit, like attached for 3 months, and we had a great time. I would just
Savannah's fantastic.
Savannah's a cool town. Yeah, I mean, I actually would go back to Savannah as a civilian for poops and giggles. I have been back, but
Hunter Army Airfield is a wonderful posting.
Yeah, that'd be
because it's like you walk out the front gate and you're in downtown Savannah, but Fort Stewart is a solid 50-minute drive, and not like an easy 50-minute drive, like a very difficult, exhausting drive. So if you're hammered 2:00 in the morning, that might as well be 80 miles. So and then you're paying for a hotel in downtown Savannah, which ain't fucking cheap.
And Huntsville is like such a shithole because the thing is that if they had put the actual installation on the northeast corner of the base, you would be about 20 minutes from downtown Savannah by the interstate. But instead, they put it on the southwest corner, on the opposite end of where Savannah is, and it adds 45 minutes to the drive.
The cantonment area, or whatever it's called.
Yep. And it's huge. It's the biggest base east of the Mississippi. So going from the garrison area to the edge is literally 20 miles of just range complexes. And we called it the Green Tunnel. So like you're driving down the road, it's a 2-lane road on either side. It's just 60-foot pine trees, and it's all it is. There's nothing to look at. So like you doze off. Like there's so many people
would wreck and die all the time because they would fall asleep at the wheel, just like getting put into that trance by the Green Tunnel. Flip their, brand new Camaro off the side of the road because they're hooking up with their stripper girlfriend in South Carolina.
22% interest on that Camaro too.
Oh,
Not a cheap wreck.
cheaper to die in it than it is to pay for it.
that sounds like Plank Road at Bragg, right? Just like a dead straightaway, and there's fucking trees, and that's it. So
for
familiar with the concept.
About 45 miles. 30 miles.
It's
last
the Army,
15
right?
miles is on the interstate.
So they're going to stick it in the cheapest place they can buy. And for Georgia, it was the massive, massive swamp. And the Altamaha River runs through the middle of the base. And then when it hits the base, it just kind of like spreads into this massive swamp of disgustingness. And so, Fort Stewart and Third Eye, like that whole area of Georgia, it fucking sucks, man. It sucks. Like it's miserable, hot. Like the hottest I've ever been was not in Afghanistan, humping grape rows in Panjwai, was not in Iraq in 123-degree streets. The hottest I've ever been was on a fucking machine gun range in Fort Stewart, Georgia, and I almost he-catted out there on a machine gun range, trying to qual on the M240. So
that's wild.
Yeah, that's my tangent because I fucking hate that place so much. Sorry.
Yeah, that's 20 miles on the Mexican border in Arizona in August. That's probably the worst I ever had. Well, no.
It's a dry heat.
You know, it is a dry heat, and I lived in Arizona before I joined the Army, and I guess we'll circle back to me here later on. But I was used to the dry heat, but every now and then that dry heat would get really fucking hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dry heat doesn't mean it's not hot.
Yeah, that's true. That's kind of a weird saying, you know.
Well, I mean, when it's a dry heat, it feels as hot as it is, whereas humidity, it feels hotter than it is. So
right.
I guess that kind of.
I like this.
I grew up in Fresno, California, and by the end of it, I left there in like 2010. They were breaking new heat records every year, cooking egg on the sidewalk and shit. But at least there wasn't any humidity.
So Fort Stewart was just like a trap. It's like the worst of Florida. I mean, Florida's already the worst of Florida anyways, but it was like the worst of Florida, but in Georgia. And I mean, you'd wake up, you go out on a field exercise, and if it was 3 days or 2 weeks, guaranteed the first night it was going to fucking pour the rain and get all your shit completely wet so that you're wet for the next 2 weeks because it wouldn't dry out, no matter how much sun or dry weather you got. So like we would actually stand behind the tanks and like they'd fire up their engines. I'm sure that's a good way to get ass cancer, but we'd like lean into the all the energy coming off the back of those tanks to try and dry our uniforms out. Misery.
Yeah, if you're standing behind a tank for any reason, that's just to get dry. That's not a fun time. I think that's a uniquely infantry experience there.
No, it's a uniquely mechanized.
It's like, yeah, bum over to the tanker's PB and be like, yo guys, fire up that thing, man. I need to do my laundry.
Yeah, that's definitely not a shared experience with our 82nd brethren, that's for sure.
That being said, like, what's the best military installation? Maybe
it's easy. DLI was nice. I went to DLI.
It's the one you can't get.
Yeah,
DLI was fantastic. I went there.
Imagine.
It was great because it was California. It's a nice part of California. There's no and there's laws in the towns surrounding it, so they can't have all that junky crap that fills up the military towns. There's like no car dealerships. I think there might have been like 1 or 2 car dealerships, but they're like in another town. You know what I mean?
Well, because Monterey existed before DLI existed.
True.
That's the key.
Yeah. And like the Pacific Grove where I lived right outside the gate, they had like rules like buildings could only be built like 2 stories tall, and then like no fast food restaurants at all. There was a McDonald's that was in there before the law passed, so it's still allowed to stay. But that was it. There's like a McDonald's, and it had to like conform to the rest of the architectural standards for Pacific Grove. It's wild because it's not like being in a military town at all. Like, I mean, DLI of course is a military installation, but
so it's kind of a military installation.
That's the key, though. I mean, the key is that if the place was there before. Let's just go Army specific. If the place was there before the Army base, then generally it's just a lot better such a situation. If the place exists because of the Army base, like Hinesville, Georgia, it's guaranteed to be a complete shithole.
Fayetteville, North Carolina technically predates Fort Bragg. And that
I don't mean like the actual existence of the town, but if the town,
like if it had an identity.
If the Army base could leave right now and the town would survive, then that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, like Savannah.
Oh, they'd be fucked. Absolutely. But like the good bases.
Hunter Army.
Carson
Airfield. Carson
would be nice.
Joint Base Lewis McChord.
Yep.
Elmendorf or J Bear in Anchorage.
Yeah.
About Wainwright.
No, fuck that. Fuck Wainwright.
I don't know. I tried to get away from the last one.
Venice.
Those Fairbanks people are weird.
What's the installation in Venice with the 173rd?
Oh, Vicenza?
Yeah.
Vincenza, Venice.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
That would be nice.
Well, yeah, pretty much any base in Europe would still exist without us.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
In a way, it would.
Yeah.
Were we not there to stop the Warsaw Pact? Maybe just having a thing. Or
They'd be there. They'd just be speaking German.
Considering how much the locals,
sure.
Considering how much the locals hate us down there, Okinawa would be just fine without the Marines.
That's true.
They hate the Marines down there.
Yeah, they hate the Marines more.
The Marines have earned it.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, very true. I mean,
it's the same in Korea. They're like, I don't know why the locals hate us. I'm like, really? You don't know why? Let me pull up like
You're
last week's
insufferable come
newspaper.
November.
I think we have a PowerPoint presentation on why they actually hate us, and just like all the bad things that happened. So, yeah.
Well, even when I was there, like when we flew in and out of Humphreys, they had like sound meters at the approach end of the runway, and they would like update how loud each airplane was when it came in. It was like a decibel reading billboard at the entrance to the base. Like, it's so loud. It's like, you move next to an airport. Like, this airfield used to be in the middle of nowhere, and they built a town around it. It's like, you don't get to complain if the airport was here first.
It's like moving on a golf course and bitching about a broken window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If the airfield was there first, they have no right to complain. They knew what they were getting into. Yeah.
But on the flip side, on the north side where we do our range, one of the Kiowas may or may not have overshot the range and put a couple 50 cals into somebody's like truck. So we might have earned a little bit of poor will.
Just go over the mountains to Tacoma.
not to mention all the Joes, doing inappropriate things with the local Korean women. So
I think it's funny how as the perimeter of the military base expands, the more respect you garner when you're out in uniform. So like as soon as you go outside the gate, everybody's like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking piece of shit." Some Joe, some E3's coming in here to order pizza. Like, just get out of my place. But then you go to
that's Lakewood Town Center.
Yeah, you go to the gas station on the way home, and it's like, oh, there's
a hero.
Yeah, he's an American hero.
And that's what it's like. I mean, Luke, you live here in Tennessee. There's like no real military presence here, with the exception of like an Air National Guard base over at McGee Tyson. So it's like, if you're in the military here, they just assume they have no idea what the military is like unless they were in it. So it's like they just assume you're like oh, what? Oh, you went to the military, and they'll put like your picture and stuff. Like, it's wild, It's like, oh.
I've actually got a good anecdote about that. When I was in probably like middle school, early high school, my good buddy's dad is a Vietnam veteran, and so he was in the 101st. So he took us to Fort Campbell and showed us around and stuff like that. And I remember when we first rolled into the gate, there was these dudes walking around with like PT belts, and they had like the little garbage picker uppers, and they were like doing a police call, and they were doing lawn maintenance. And I remember thinking like, oh, there's some American heroes right there. Like, these are just the shitbags doing their mandatory what do they call it?
14 or 14, 15,
yeah.
15.
yeah. They're just out there serving their Article 15 time.
God, PT belts is something I haven't thought about in years. You mentioned PT belt, and that is like a word that hasn't crossed my mind, or like I've not thought about it. I've not even like visualized one until you just said that. And now I need some more booze, because it's just the PT belt is a wild thing.
Stroking out. I have a little
let's take a
there.
really quick pause.
If you're driving the side by side and chucking the bottles out the side, that's when you drink Coors Light.
Yeah, having a horse is Coors Banquet level bougie.
Oh, yeah.
But Coors Light is having a side-by-side.
Have you ever seen a picture of me on the gram on that mule or one of them horses drinking?
Dude, my wife
Coors
fucking
Light?
Loves your gram.
It's badass.
She loves that fucking mule and that horse.
You're like Dostum, dude.
It's all a lie.
Luke is like Dostum, man. He's got all these badass pictures of him on like a horse, and like a gun. Like, that's awesome.
I showed her a picture. I'm like, hey, here's Luke on a donkey or something. She's like, that's a mule. It's so cool. I'm like, yeah, whatever you say. It's a fucking pack animal.
I'm pretty proud of my feed. I will have to admit that a lot of it is fabrication, but isn't that much what social media is for?
It's all fabrication.
Yeah. The mules and the horses belong to my cousin, but I get all the benefit without any of the cost. So all I gotta do is drive up to Kentucky and like, hey man, settle them up and roll, and we go on.
I think there is like a level, like we like having a side by side, right? It doesn't cost you any money to have it sitting in the garage, right?
Exactly.
And so like the level of bougie requires like how much stuff costs to just exist, and a horse is at the top of that list, dude.
Oh, yeah. Like I would love nothing more than to have 2 quarter horses and a good pack mule, but you're getting into tens and thousands of dollars just to get your foot in the door, and then you got
just
to own them. Yeah, not including getting the infrastructure in place, keeping them fed, keeping them shod. The tack. If you want to get good tack, you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars.
I'm well aware.
I've watched Yellowstone. I know how this goes.
So when we sold our house this year, we sold it for 60% more than we bought it for 3 years ago. And so, my wife has a horse fund because we looked at our finances, right? She doesn't have to work. We paid off all of our debt. All we have is the mortgage on the new house. And so now her thing is, I said, yeah, sure. If when we get to the point that you can buy a horse, you can buy a horse. So now she's got the money set aside, and then she's going to go back to work solely to pay for this fucking horse that she's going to buy one day.
Nice. I mean,
I guess.
I love having them, man. I mean, they'll ruin you on being in the woods. I tell you, start humping your ass up the side of a mountain, and you're like, damn, I wish I had a horse right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you start doing like trail trekking with a horse, you will never go backpacking ever fucking again.
Packing, like horse packing, ruined backpacking for me.
Yeah.
Ruined. Well, yeah, because you have a giant animal to carry all your shit,
I'm just
including you.
Getting drunk on beer, shooting shit, instead of sucking dick for beer money. I'm drinking that beer with the money I earned by sucking dick earlier on.
I don't know what you're doing in Rockwood up there, Luke.
What did they give you, Yingling?
Well, we weren't recording earlier. I'll go on record. Oh, is this for ours or for y'all's?
This is for ours.
Both.
That's for both.
Both.
Okay, I'll keep it apolitical.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's fine.
Oh,
apolitical. Because we mentioned the Trump. Yeah. Okay.
The Trump thing.
It's fine.
I'm not editing this, so it's gonna be a bonus episode for us, and like
that's fine.
You guys get what you get. So.
I mean, we've talked about that shit too. We're not exactly.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah. I always let myself be a little bit more politically engaged on y'all's podcast.
We have shat on every president since 2000, so
which they all deserve it.
They all deserve it.
Yeah. And Pat Buchanan too. Or
I was like, we can go back before 2000. Like we go back to like 1864 or
I can go way far back. Yeah, I mean
they all kind of suck.
Yeah,
except Coolidge and William Henry Harrison. He's the best president ever because he was only around for a month.
Yes, let's say did he die like immediately?
Yes,
and James
best president ever.
And don't forget James K. Polk, because without that mullet, Manifest Destiny would have never manifested itself.
Well, hold on. James K. Polk is the reason that there's a Fort Polk, which is where JRTC is. So
no, that's Leonidas Polk.
He's a fucking piece of shit.
Wasn't that named after Leonidas Polk?
I don't know.
Pretty sure it was.
Curtis is spreading misinformation.
I would assume it named after the president, not
one of the many
presidents don't get bases. You only get bases if you lose a war.
Yeah.
Jeb Stuart, Fort Stewart, case in point.
Hood. Yeah.
Bragg.
Yeah, Bragg.
Lee.
Yeah. What's Hood?
Hill.
Hood?
Was it John Bell Hood or something like that?
Yeah, he was a Confederate general too.
Yeah. They love naming them army bases.
Jackson.
And you know what? There's a good reason, because all those places suck ass. So really the joke's on them. Like, yeah, you had a base named after you, but it's Fort Hood.
That's a good point.
You might as well have named a shitter after somebody.
Fort Carson is named after Kit Carson, and Colorado is pretty fucking cool. And then Lewis is named after the Meriwether Lewis, and like, it's not bad out there. It's maybe there's
it was all a big joke.
A correlation to that.
Yeah. Interesting.
You can have the cool bases.
So who's Fort Irwin named after?
Probably some schmuck as a general in like the 70s.
No, Steve Irwin was awesome.
Because I feel like Fort Irwin's got to be a fairly new installation, right?
Yeah, but it's Barstow.
Yeah. Somewhere south of Barstow, backcountry.
But Curtis, are we on you for your? I was seeing a redirect us back to the topic at hand. Unless you guys want to go off
the PT
elevator.
That's where we are. Oh God, we are way off, aren't we?
Oh, we are way off. Because I forgot about the PT belt conversation. Yeah,
jeez.
I actually found one the other day. Still in its packaging.
Like, it's yours that you found, or you saw one at a store?
No, I found it in my shit. Like unpacking.
Because I can tell you right now, I have never seen a reflective belt in a store.
Yeah.
Outside of a 30-mile radius of an.
I've only ever seen them in tax-free stores.
I had a student who actually wore his around his backpack. He was an Air Force veteran.
Oh man,
He was a really good student, and like I really liked him. And I didn't say anything to him about the veteran stuff until like the last day of classes. And I'm like, man, it's like I got a question for you, dude. Like, why do you have a PT belt around your backpack?
I had a classmate that wore a Stetson in class every day.
Well,
that's cooler than a PT belt.
No, like his Stetson.
His Stetson.
With like his little lapels on the side and shit.
Oh, I thought it was just like a general like Stetson hat.
No.
Yeah.
That's
way worse than a PT belt.
Yeah, that's way worse.
That's like the equivalent of wearing like your beret,
your blue cord or something.
Yeah.
Your beret.
And then I think that's the worst just overt display of veteranness that I've ever seen. A close second is a guy when I transferred schools when we moved, and he would wear his field jacket in the winter. Like that was his winter coat. And he had like his name and rank and shit on there, and he'd been out for 4 or 5 years.
Like the liner, like the whoopee liner kind of field jacket?
No, like the outside. Was it ACU?
Yeah.
Oh, it's even worse.
Here's the thing. Field jackets are cool given enough time. You have to give a field jacket like 20 years, and then
it's got to go through
cool
like at least 2 or 3 different phases of camo.
Yeah,
correct.
Like Woodland is cool.
I don't know if ACU is ever going to get there though.
No,
ACU will
is
never
a terrible
be cool.
pattern.
It's
just ugly.
ACUs are really cool if you're homeless.
It's fashion, bro.
It's true.
There is a level. Speaking of gear and like shit that you get, I don't even know. Maybe it was Zach I was having this conversation with. What is the best piece of all the shit that you get to keep when you leave the Army?
The whoopee.
The whoopee.
Yeah, obviously.
You don't get.
I never got a whoopee.
You get to keep it if you just pay for it.
Yeah,
that's true. I'm talking about like the stuff that touches your skin. That like
waffle top,
waffle
top, or boonie cap.
I still have my boonie. I like my.
I've got 2 boonies. Yeah. Waffle top is good. Dude, that fleece, the Army fleece overcoat. I wear that fly fleece. That's a good one.
Yeah, I wish I would.
So that the deer know that you're a veteran?
No. The problem with that jacket though is you can't just wear it to anything because it does have like the stupid like Velcro for like rank. If that was off of it, it would be I'm thinking that jacket is gonna be top notch in the future. I think that's gonna be.
But if there weren't like those places for the Velcro, nobody would ask you if you were a veteran, and you wouldn't get to tell them.
That's true.
That's true. Very true.
They wouldn't know your story.
Yeah,
or your name, since you obviously have your name tape and rank on it.
Yeah, well, you take that off. I mean, nobody's wearing their name and rank tape.
You leave it on. Or actually,
I'm getting bigger.
Of course, you leave it on.
You put it on the back of your 511 tactical backpack.
Yeah.
And then you put some sort of morale patch like "fuck your feelings" or something underneath it, so that everybody knows you're a disgruntled.
Punisher skulls.
Punisher skulls.
As many Punisher skulls as you can get.
And then no one fucks with you in that. No one fucks with you in that Starbucks because you're open carrying a rifle. So it's perfect.
or you're open carrying a Beretta M9 in a drop leg holster. And that's when you know you're a real badass. At the IGA with an M9.
One of the patches has to be the English and Arabic, like "stay back 100 feet or you will be shot" signs.
Or the infidel in Arabic.
Yeah.
Infidel
terrorist hunting license,
that's a good one. That's a classic.
That's kind of like an early GWAT one, though.
That's early GWAT. Yeah, that stopped being cool. Like, maybe
when that one came out, it was really cool for like a minute.
Yeah.
And then it was on every truck in the parking lot of the base, and you're like,
just above their truck nuts.
Oh, yeah. Truck nuts. Classic. It was on every 2003 Chevrolet 1500 extended cab that had been lifted about 6 inches and had 26-inch rims on it. Between here and
everyone knows that the Tacoma is the douchey.
But see, now the Tacoma's
truck of choice.
Tacomas just have West Point stickers on them now.
True.
Yeah, because now you have to be a fucking officer to afford one.
Yeah, that's true. It used to be a lot cheaper. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be an 04 or above to get a Tacoma now.
Just go start your own theocratic regime in the Middle East, and you can get a shitload of Tacomas. They're called Hiluxes.
No, it's a different vehicle.
I think
it's a better vehicle.
It is a better vehicle.
The Hilux. I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand how they haven't sold more. Like those things have been fucking battle tested.
What I tell you, they meet exactly zero federal safety standards.
So
imagine how shit hot Hiluxes would be here in the veteran community if you just started selling this.
I would absolutely drive one. I would absolutely have a Hilux just because they're cool.
It won't survive a direct hit from a JDAM, but you can get pretty close. Like,
it's a shame they only come in white.
It can deflect a Griffin missile. I've seen that before.
Yeah, just spray paint it like the Iraqi army, Zach.
So it's funny, like we talked about the Hilux. So I'm wrapping up Lions of Kandahar since you guys interviewed Rusty Bradley, and I think about that reading. Not to give any spoilers away for people that haven't read it or are anticipating the interview, but like
spoiler alert, we lost the war.
All the fucking vehicle issues I had getting to fucking Panjwai, and it's like, how come I never hear about like the Taliban just like abandoning an op because the fucking Hilux took a shit? Because they're just the best fucking vehicle ever.
They were Hiluxes though.
Exactly. Like, what is it like? How is it that we can't figure out how to get these fucking things to run, and then these people who can't fucking read and write are like, yeah, it's fine. Let's just keep going.
Well, they don't figure out how to keep them run. They just steal them from us after we make them run, and they drive them until they don't work anymore, and then they find another one because we left 7,000 of them in the country.
That's true.
Yeah, we're talking pre-2020 here, though.
I saw that picture of our evacuation. They had all those vehicles just sitting there, and I thought, like, okay, I need to get a crew together and just go get me a fucking Land Cruiser and a Hilux.
Fuck yeah!
And how can I go there and safely drive it out of the country?
Dude, I was thinking the same thing about all those little birds. I'm like, man, all I gotta do is get on the airfield. Like, I know it's got enough gas to get me to fucking Pakistan. Like, just slap some rockets in it. I'm gonna get to like Abbottabad, and then we're gonna be good to go.
Right.
Like,
I'm sure that I could go out there, like, if I could make it to Afghanistan, right? Offer like the shadow district governor out in like fucking, Nimruz, like, hey, here's $5,000. Give me that Hilux. Like, yeah, sure, fuck it, take 4.
Dude, the longer you wait, the broker they get, the less you have to spend. Give it until like February. You'll get one for like $15.
Yeah, just wait for the Civil War to kick off. And then go get you one.
And trade food for one. Go like there with like a bag of rice and be like, I'll take a Hilux, please. Just drive it north to like Turkmenistan. It'd be fine. Yeah. Get out of there.
Dostum's got to raise his funds, man. Price is going to go down.
And it'll probably come with a machine gun.
It better fucking come with a machine gun for a full bag of rice.
Yeah. This is the good shit, the jasmine rice.
Yeah. Is it a 50-pound bag or 100 pounds?
Just like,
None of that short grain shit.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows a Hilux is pointless unless it has a roll bar and a machine gun mounted to the top of the roll bar. Otherwise, I don't want it.
Right.
Yeah, I want one so bad. Yeah, you're right though, Luke. If you could get Hiluxes imported here, especially from that war, like it would be Punisher stickers all over the back of it, like a fake PKM in the back. I can see it. I can see it. A fake PKM.
Fake PKM.
Just
put an airsoft PKM.
You can buy Hiluxes. They're out there. They're like you can get them for like 20-25 grand, and some of them look really nice. It's just hard to find them.
Okay.
I don't know if that's worth my time.
Might be starting a trend here, guys.
That's a few Hilux. Extra bags of rice. 20-25 grand.
I'm just waiting.
But 25 grand has 475,000 miles on it.
It's just getting going at that point, though. It's got another war. It can
easily another 500,000 miles to go.
Well, they'll wind up in Kazakhstan. Just give it a week.
I'm just waiting for the Pawn Stars episode where someone comes in trying to sell a legit G-Watt Hilux.
This was Grandpa's Hilux that he smuggled back somehow, one piece at a time, like
one piece at a time,
like radar and mash.
or like the freaking general of the 82nd on the last airplane out of freaking Kabul. It's like, we're gonna take this gun truck with us. I'm like, what?
Oh, man.
So you left those people on the runway, but you brought
how many people could that have been?
Yeah.
Nice what a trophy, bro.
Bag. What a bag.
Dude, he looked like hammered shit too. Like his kit was all fucked up and stuff. I was like, man,
but he had some really nice nods. I noticed that.
Yeah.
At least look good while you're doing it there, sir.
Right.
Oh man.
Yeah. You gotta look good when you're telling the Brits to stop embarrassing you.
Well, and then the Brits had to stop going out because they fucked themselves. They brought in like 15 confirmed Taliban into the United Kingdom, and they're like,
everybody's Taliban. I mean, it's like, it just depends on the day.
Yeah. Have you never talked to a human, sir? Everyone's a Taliban.
I saw this thing. It was like National Geographic had a year in review pictures, and one of them was a couple of dudes in Afghanistan, and it was like whatever Abdul Ahmed or whatever, 25, former Taliban fighter, and he was like ALP, and it's like within a week he was dead, and I'm like, am I supposed to feel sorry for this guy? It's like, when I was there, he's probably shooting fucking.
He's still Taliban.
Yeah, that's true.
There are very few former Taliban, unless they're dead.
That's just always cracked me up. They're like, the ALP was almost made exclusively up of former Taliban. That was like their reconciliation plan.
Oh my gosh!
Like. What?
We talked about this. Oh, the fucking ALP.
I still stand by in certain areas ALP was a good idea, but it was areas that we had actual fucking oversight over them. Like the places where we just like shipped out and like recruited a bunch of people. It's like, you're going to be the fucking like militarized neighborhood watch of this area and things will be fine. Anyway, we'll be back in a month. Go fight those Taliban. Like, obviously that wasn't going to work.
I'm in complete agreement that the ALP in theory is not a bad idea, right? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But the oversight needed for it to be an effective concept nationwide was massive.
But dude, we had ALP right outside our base. We visited them every day, and they were still fucking Taliban.
Yeah, and they would just have like many Taliban feuds in amongst the different cells. So they just like randomly execute people, and they would just go off grid and come back with some dude, and he would get shipped off.
Even the ones that like were trying to do their job, like none of them had any fucking ammo. Like over in Kapisa, after we pulled back further and we didn't have any bases out there, they were walking around with like one magazine of ammo, or like a magazine with no ammo, just trying to look tough. It's like
they were selling their ammo to the Taliban for fuel for the generators.
Yeah,
and the Hilux, so you can go joyride.
Yeah.
They'd have a hot date if that were allowed.
I mean, all the ALP were for us, like functionally, operationally speaking, was an excuse for an Afghan partner. So if we needed to go on a patrol and the ANA were balking up on us, the CO would be like, go to the ALP and pick up like two 14-year-olds with an AK and 30 rounds, and they're going to be our Afghan partner for this patrol.
Dude, I'd take the 14-year-olds over the 30-year-olds any day. Those 14-year-olds fought like fucking warriors.
So that's wild. I can't.
And they aren't addicted.
That makes
to
sense,
yet.
Luke. I just didn't think that was like the way they would do it. Like, because I knew we all had to like toward the end have to have Afghan partners to do anything. Mm-hmm. So that was how they got around it. They're like, pick up a couple of kids.
That was a clever way of getting around it. If we were willing to get on the ball and get after something.
I want to get into like your guys' interactions like with the ANA and shit on those patrols, but since I think it's only fair since you heard Luke's like John Rambo fetish for joining the infantry, I want to hear Curtis's intro to the military and becoming a warrant officer who got to put his hands in his pockets.
All the time. Let's talk about this earlier today, actually. I honestly, I wanted to join the Army because I wanted to either go SF or aviation, and I couldn't do either of those right. Well, I probably could have done aviation out the gate, but I knew I had a better chance of going in and then applying for it. And I just really wanted to go to war. So I figured if I went like aviation pipeline right out the gate, I'd be in school for 2 years, and I would have been right. I never would have gone to war as an infantryman or in anything kind of fun. So I was like, I want to go to war. So I was like, I'm going to be an infantryman. I'll be out of basic training in 6 months, and I'll be right into the surge in Afghanistan. And I was fucking right. Within 4 weeks of graduating basic training, I was in Afghanistan, or 6 weeks or so. And then I came back and I was like, well, SF dudes aren't really doing a whole lot right now. They look pretty fucking miserable, so I'm just going to do the flight thing. So I did the flight thing, applied, got in, picked Apaches because I'm not a pussy, and went to flight school and made it through that pretty quick. Did a tour in Korea, which was fun, and then Afghanistan again. So
you were 16 cab, right?
For the Afghanistan deployment.
Yeah. With what was a Warhawk?
I did spend a portion of my time attached to the douchebags of Warhawk.
I don't know. I was there for like 6 weeks, and it was the ass end of you guys being there. I'm pretty sure I walked past you once.
You probably did, because I was there pretty late. I left in October.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I got over there and like, well, when did we get fired for doing our jobs? September? October?
No, I got there in October.
2017.
That
sounds right.
It was like middle of the year. I had like 2 months over in Pactio, which was the best.
And we got home the Monday after Thanksgiving, so that sounds right. End of September, early October, I went over to Warhawk, and I'm pretty sure I remember walking past a thin, bald, probably, most likely, warrant officer.
No, not yet. Not
no?
yet. Not yet.
Yeah. You're pretty much done.
I wasn't there. I had hair.
I'm pretty sure. I remember walking
when it's
past
on your
Chief
pecker,
Grace.
it doesn't count.
Right, like no reason for us to have an interaction, right? But I remember I'm pretty sure I remember walking past you at one point. Working with Captain Evangelista.
Oh gosh, man! Honestly, like working with their S shop, their S3 shop was like pulling fucking teeth out of my toenails.
That was the 2.
Like, oh, they were the worst. Well, the 2 and the 3, both of them combined. The 2 wasn't so bad, really, but the 3 were the worst because. Luke can understand this, and I bet you guys understand this too. If I'm flying above the infantry or the special forces guys, and they have a product in their hands, what direction do you think their map is facing? Is north up, or is north like this way? North is always fucking up. North is always up on a goddamn map. But the Blackhawk community believes that the products should be based on the direction that their helicopters are going to land. So they'll put something on a piece of paper and they'll be like, north arrow will be like at 72 degrees off to the right. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
I remember hearing this conversation when I got to Warhawk.
I was the one that made it.
Then you know what, Curtis? We have met.
Because I spent many times in the 3 and the 2 shop being like, give me some fucking North Up products.
Then I probably did meet you because I remember some guy coming in and bitching about that, and I thought to myself, like, I'd been there a week. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was me. That was me bitching. Everyone else had given up the fight. I was like, no, this is fucking stupid. So I made my own products. Every time
I just made threat briefings, so that wasn't on me.
Yeah, it's all good. But I was super passive aggressive about it. So we'd get into like a big briefing. So like the SFODA would be there and like all the enablers, and the Blackhawk guys love their packets. They're like 2 inches thick, and there's like so much shit in there you don't fucking need. So I would like dramatically like take it, and I would just start ripping pages out and just like throwing them on the ground until like I had what I actually needed, which was like 3 pieces of paper. I was like, okay, cool, and I'd leave the rest of it on the table.
Yeah. Just so you guys know, Curtis did fail his personality test for like 3 out of 4 of his prospective internships. That kind of shit is probably why, Curtis.
I only failed. Hold on. 2.
That's not a great success rate.
Out of like 13.
Does not play well with others.
But no, you did. I mean, we've talked about that quite a bit on our podcast, especially with pilots. It's like, north is up, east is right, west is left, and south is down.
Well, actually, I don't even care what mine is as long as it looks the same as the guy on the ground. That's what matters. Like if the infantry is looking at a north up map, which why the fuck wouldn't they be? Like, then that's what I need to look at. Because if I am looking at the same product, I need to be able to like talk them on or describe things in relation to what they're looking at, not whatever direction the Blackhawk is going to land. I could give 2 shits. Like, what a stupid tangent to go on.
The Blackhawk needs to land on the red smoke. That's where it needs to land.
Oh no, it's not that simple.
Whatever direction that they come in at. I'm talking about from the ground level. It's just land there, please. And if you can't tell us, we'll find you somewhere else to land.
Well, that's why the ground force never took the Blackhawks on missions. They just took the Chinooks because the Chinooks would just land on the red smoke.
Yeah. And I guess you should make the distinction between like this because you got the medevac guys, and then you got Uber.
Yeah, totally different.
Uber Blackhawk guys,
totally
and different breed of dudes too.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's how I became a pilot. And
very particular about your map orientation, and that's fine. You gotta pick your battles.
Man, even inside the Apache community, there's a great debate. It's like when you drive in your car, your GPS is like track up. It moves the direction that your vehicle's moving. So we call that track up. and that's for Uber drivers. That's for the Blackhawks. But since we're tactical, we always fly north up in the Apache. So which you can do that on your GPS too. I do because I'm a fucking tool. And I can't let it go. But
there's a lot of nasty letters to Apple. Like, where's my feature?
I want north up right now. Give me fucking products. But in like new pilots, when they come out of flight school, they've been flying like Blackhawk pilots the whole time, and like it's a big sense of contention, like retraining pilots on how to fly properly with north up. But that's way more information you guys really needed.
I was going to make a smart ass joke about like the nav systems and vehicles not doing that, but you just ruined that for me. So
yeah,
thank you.
Oh well.
Yep.
Yeah. But now we know. I mean, I didn't know that was a point of contention in
like
the rotary.
My biggest thing is just trying to convince people around me to use the metric system and the 24-hour clock. So, nothing like what Curtis has going on.
Yeah, the
metric system
clock
is
is
bullshit.
superior.
Oh, fuck yourself.
Oh, shit.
I'm covering down with Zach on this 100% metric system across the board and 24-hour clock. I'm kind of sad for still using that myself. I
always use the 24-hour clock because I go out and pronounce deaths all the time, and it's always in the 24-hour
See,
clock.
like we're at the hospital these last couple of days, right? And so we have to write down our daughter's, like, when we feed her or when my wife feeds her and all that shit, right? And so she's writing it down. I look at it. I start using a 24-hour clock, and the nurses were just so fucking relieved that they didn't have to add and subtract 12 every time because I started doing it. Like, it's just everybody else uses it except for us. Why the fuck not?
Everybody should use 24-hour clock. Everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. And metric.
So anybody listening to this, if you have a G-Shock, you can set it to 24-hour time. So just go ahead and do that.
It's really
set
easy.
Your phone to 24-hour time.
Does that G-Shock have like a little Punisher skull on the face of it?
No. And you know what?
No, but it is flat, dark Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are. Yeah.
The second hand has truck nuts on it.
Yeah. See, G-Shock is really missing their market because I do think that there is a crossover between people that like Punisher skulls and people that have G-Shocks. And I feel like they could really sell a lot more G-Shocks.
Really
it's a direct correlation.
Yeah. There's really not much of a face. I guess the fancy ones, I don't know. I have one, but I've stopped.
I got the square model.
I mean, the thing is, like, once you advance in your life to the point where you have taste, you buy a Garmin watch instead of a G-Shock.
Or you get an Omega.
There you go. That's the next evolution.
That's the next evolution.
That's when you don't give a shit about how functional it is at all.
You become a watch guy. And watch guys are a whole different breed.
It's a whole other thing.
I just have a movement analog watch, and it does this crazy thing where it tells me what the fucking time is, and that's all it does.
And I have one that literally survived Iraq and Afghanistan. Like, it clicked for years and years and years and years. And I wore it for a long time. It was just a cheap, like, Timex quickie watch from the fucking PX or whatever. But that lasted a long time, and then it died on me, and I haven't worn a watch since. Invigorating stuff, captivating.
Yeah. I love watches.
Next on the Panjwai Podcast and the Boardwalk Podcast, do you wear a watch? Here's why you should.
Do you guys think there's a waiting market out there for people that like Punisher skulls and drive big trucks and have some kind of Garmin or whatever, and people that like truck nuts but wish that they could have nuts elsewhere? I think clock nuts could be a thing.
Clock nuts.
I don't know.
See,
I think like on a grandfather clock, you have the pendulum, right? Yeah, big old ding.
Yeah,
and like the pull.
I think there's an emerging market there.
Yeah,
as long as there are staff sergeants who will never progress past the rank of staff sergeant but refuse to get out of the army, there will be a market for it, Stu.
That's true. That's very true indeed.
Wow, that hits. That hits. That's good. It's good stuff.
So hey, so my question. Oh, go ahead, Curtis. Go ahead.
I was going to say I skipped the rank of E6, so I wouldn't know anything about it.
Whatever. So, I listened to most of your guys' episodes, right? And you talk about going out on patrols with the ANA and shit like that, or at least they're in the vicinity. So because we're not a Kandahar centric podcast, right? But we are predominantly Kandahar, and you guys are a exclusively Kandahar podcast. I was curious, like, what was it like going out on those patrols in 12 with ANA, a month, 2 months after the whole Bales incident? Like, how fucking squirrely was that shit?
They didn't fucking care because they weren't from there.
Well, that's right. Yeah, they're not even from the fucking area. So how useless were they? I guess I should ask.
Have you ever tried to get a cat?
Have you ever tried to take a
to do anything the cat didn't want to do? without physically picking the cat up and making it do it?
No.
Yes.
That's what it was like working with the ANA.
Have you ever tried to take a flying fuck at a rolling donut? That's what it was like to work with the ANA.
Never heard that before in my life. But that's going in the repertoire.
It was hit or miss. It really was. Sometimes the ANA showed up and they really wanted to fight. Sometimes they just got to stick up their ass like, we're going to fucking kill as many Taliban as exist. I'm like, I'm all for it. And they roll out like a platoon deep with their heavy weapon squad. And we would just sit back and let them do it. Like, it was a grand thing to watch. You
would think that like you can't convince a bunch of dudes from Mazar-e Sharif to protect, Panjwai.
Nah,
but you go, hey, you want to kill some fucking Pashtun, assholes?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They didn't really care about that either.
They just had they had to be turned on, man. Well, probably has a direct correlation to how high they were, and how fucked up they were, and how their willingness to like go out and really fight. But I think I really only saw that, and they did have a propensity to get fucked up because their I guess the gravitas with which they gave the value of their life was definitely not there. And so they'd just walk around, stomp around. We'd hop over a grape row and get behind cover. They'd just stand up there on the wall. We had one dude do that, and he got shot through the gut, bled out in a couple seconds. Like they just didn't care, man, about their self-preservation. Of course, they grew up in one of the worst countries in the world, so
And they were very lazy.
Yeah.
So like where we were very disciplined about don't step here, don't take a break in the shade, don't take a knee, don't run to cover, like all that kind of stuff, because that's where all the IEDs were. They never got it. They just never, ever figured out that comfort was bad. So
I don't think they cared. I think it was like, if I sit on an IED and get blown in half, who fucking cares?
It might be that they didn't care. That's true. Yeah. Inshallah is a real thing. But they were constantly getting fucked up for doing stupid shit that we never would have done.
I think when you see some of the documentaries that have come out since we've been there, I think it's pretty loud and obvious, right? It's like you look at the Vice one. This is what winning looks like, and like they're trying to tell this fucking little.
Curtis and I disagree on this one because I think that was a pretty accurate portrayal of our experience in Panjwai.
You look at like go past the whole like some fucking Marine private telling somebody how to wash their hands. Like move past that,
right?
But you're trying to talk to this fucking checkpoint commander about how to properly defend the outpost and shit. And he's just out there with a fucking rifle or machine gun. I can't remember what it was. It's just like shooting off rounds to fucking shoot off rounds. Like, hey, that's not really a good idea. Come back in here and you need to regroup and come up with a plan and defend this area. And they just don't fucking care.
See, and the thing is, that might have been true in 2012. It was pretty indicative of what it was like in 2012. But that documentary was not made in 2012. It was made in like 2015.
No, man. That documentary predated, it actually overlapped with our deployment. Yeah, 100%. Because I watched it as soon as we got back, and I was like, dude.
Then that's not the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking they made one like right before the end of the War on Terror, where they basically like, look, the Afghan army is doing so good, they didn't ever need the Americans. They're doing so much better without the Americans. That's the one I watched.
Yeah,
what Winning Looks Like is a 2013 documentary.
Winning looks like.
Yeah. Winning Looks Like is 2013.
Okay, that's a different. That's not the one I saw. The one I saw was much more recent, and basically it was about Kandahar, and it was like, look how good the Afghan army is doing. The American military left in 2014, and this whole area has been safe ever since then. And they basically made it look like that they were doing a phenomenal job and just kicking ass.
I haven't seen that one, but that actually parallels Vice's descent into stupidity, because Vice used to be fairly interesting,
right?
And then it's just like putting out shit now. So
you should watch this other one, Curtis, because he was. I want to say the laugh. It overlapped our deployment timeline wise.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On one end of it, I think the front end of it. And this dude was with the Marines out in Helmand, and it was a very similar situation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen
except
that
the
one.
Marines had monkey stomped so many Taliban by the end that the fighting wasn't nearly as intense.
Yeah. I will say this, though.
You see like live in front of you. It's like that scene in The Simpsons where, Bart shows Lisa the exact moment dude gets his heart broken. Like you see this guy realize that we're losing the war live on camera, and it is like heartbreaking. It is crazy.
So I'm listening to you guys' most recent episode, right, with the DoD civilian, and mostly done with it. And that's a great point, Stu. Like, he's talking about, here's this checkpoint commander, and like they're just like systematically raping these little kids, and we can't do a fucking thing about it. And you just see the defeat in his eyes.
Yeah.
That Like separate from whether he's an effective commander or not, he's a shit human being. And like, I think one of the things that makes our military at most times different from others is that at some point your character matters, right? You could be the greatest tactician on the planet, but if you're a shit human being, that's going to reflect within your soldiers.
Yeah.
We like to hope so, at least.
Yes, we would like to hope so.
We project that at least.
Every now and then they just like leave people in other countries, but and they lose wars, but they get paid to go on TV and be experts when all their resume says lost 2 wars. But whatever.
Well, I'll say this for the ANA, and I was saying this even as before the war wrapped up. There was a marked difference between what I saw in 2012 and 2017. In 2017, they were doing air assaults on their own. They were doing massive clearing engagements on their own. They were running their own artillery. Their SOF were doing fucking incredible things. Like, I was stunned to see it from the air and support it from the air. Now, granted, I didn't see everything, and I wasn't working with the guys like we were, who were just like battle space owners, who were probably all pieces of shit. But the ones that I worked with, I was quite impressed with the level of competency they'd built up in 5 years.
The issue was, I think ANA Special Forces, they were always, I think they were all, we trained them very well. But like, I mean, even like doing like the aviation stuff I did, and we would be over these these engagements going on. If it was just regular ANA that like Special Forces was just kind of like taken out, to hey, here's how you fight the Taliban kind of thing. Right. It could prove bad. I mean, you were down there watching people miss all sorts of mortar strikes and stuff. They don't really understand how to like dial those in. Right. The rounds are hitting all over the place, and it's just it could be very frustrating. But I think you're right about the Special Forces. I as far as I know, they were doing what they're supposed to do.
I think the more specialized their job, the better they were. So like if they were like their artillery forces were good, their special forces were good, their pilots were extremely good. But that's because I guess we can talk about this now. Every time that the Afghan, like their SOF wing, their SMU wing went out, there was usually at least 1 or 2 American pilots in the flight. So it wasn't just like they were very Americanized, very westernized, highly trained guys. They'd spend most of their training in the United States. So like their pilots were really good.
And I think in 2012, like you talk on the subject of the specialized thing, I think the biggest knockdown drag out fight that I ever saw between Afghan forces and the Taliban was not our ANA, and it wasn't even a local police or anything. It was
it's like ANCOP, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like their FBI Afghan version of the FBI.
Is that what ANCOP was? I just knew it was like civil order police, and I don't know what the fuck that means. But.
No, what was that? NDS.
Yeah,
NDS. NDS is like their CIA.
Yeah, so who was the dudes that rolled in there? Was it NDS or was it ANCOP?
It wasn't NDS.
It's not NDS. Okay.
Anyways, the point is, it was some kind of actual thing.
Yeah.
I mean, those dudes. I mean, they rolled up on the Hiluxes and they just got online and just duked it out with the Taliban right outside of Sperwangar for like 5 or 6 hours, man.
Yeah, it was wild.
They did a lot of fighting. Of course, we sat there and watched it and ate fries and Oreos and took in the view. But, that was the only like intense fighting that I saw, except for a couple of days where our guys really threw down and laid down some scunion.
When there were a couple major operations where we took other enablers with us that were okay. Like we worked with ANCOP on a clearing operation. There was another agency that we worked with. I can't remember who it was. They had like their dedicated mine clearing teams, which were really good. They just had so many different agencies: ANP, ANA, ALP, ANCOP, NDS. Like,
I think they had too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Wait, too many fucking police like sacks.
Yeah.
And
they were clearly emulating us. I mean, we got sheriffs and we got state troopers and we got city police and we got FBI and we got ATF and Jesus Christ. I mean, we can't really complain. Ours is worse, but it was if we're looking at the 2012 guys, the ANA probably fell somewhere towards the upper 75% of the quality units we worked with, which isn't very high praise, but ANP being slightly below them, the uniform guys, and then the ALP just being
hot garbage.
The worst.
Completely
The
worst.
They were
worst
like
is
dangerous to take on patrol, but not just the green on blue threat, but literally just their presence would put American lives in jeopardy because they were so haphazard. So they go step on an ID and blow up an American, then
Like, so the green on blue threat was always persistent, right? I get that. Was there, and I'm pretty sure I haven't glossed over any episodes. Were there any actual green on blues in your guys' time in Panjwai?
No, there was one that was gonna go down.
Almost got spicy.
Yeah, almost got spicy,
Like,
and thankfully
patrol got canceled last minute.
Yeah, the patrol got canceled last minute, and actually our patrol, it was going to be our day to run out there and talk to those guys, and they found out about it, and I think the dude got disappeared by his commander. I think it's how that worked out. So that once his like little AOP commander found out what he was up to, and he got put in a Afghan jail.
I mean, it definitely affected us significantly because after that, we used contract security on Spur One Gar, so we didn't have to pull our own guard for most of the deployment. But over the course of the deployment, that green on blue threat kind of reached a crescendo, probably sometime around August, September.
Yeah.
And at that point, we increased our security to have roving guards on the base, and we started placing vehicle guards at all the checkpoints because the base was kind of split in half. Half was ANA, half was ours. So we kind of just put guards on those entrances because just the threat had gotten to the point where it no longer made sense not to do it, because if something happened, nobody wanted to be the guy that didn't have a couple soldiers on guard,
And me and Curtis took that guard duty very, very seriously.
Very seriously.
And we're adamantly always alert and definitely not watching How I Met Your Mother on Curtis's iPad. Or laptop or whatever you had at the time.
See, the thing is with the MRAP, we had a way that we could wire, a headphone jack into the comm system. So we're on the radio, we're alert, we're comms. There's a crow on top of this thing.
Yeah, I got the crow on auto scan.
Crow on auto scan, How I Met Your Mother on the iPad, and that lasted about a week.
Man, that last season was ass.
Oh my God.
We weren't there yet.
Yeah.
This was this was the heyday. This was like, I think
5 or something.
Season 5 or 6.
Stu and I have had this conversation several times.
Oh.
I agree with Stu, but the last season fucking sucked.
Last season sucked.
The ending sucked.
I don't even watch it. Like, if I rewatch it now, I don't even watch the last season.
I don't even rewatch it.
Yeah.
I'm rewatching Letterkenny since I need to watch season 10.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. They're on season 10. I got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, season 10 was awesome.
I was introduced to that show by the guys over at Warhawk. So,
I guess they're good for something.
I guess. No, I did not take my version, like the Intel version of guard duty, very seriously when it was at Saddam Hussein's Al Fal Palace in Baghdad as a specialist pop. Couldn't have cared less.
No.
Could not have cared less. Just standing around, wasting my time for 4 hours. Yeah.
I mean, I pulled a fucking assload of guard in Iraq. That was probably, it was quite literally a third of my deployment was in a guard shack. And, it's hard, man. Pulling guard is hard to like stay alert and be there, and especially when the threat level is really low and you're not. Really
I was about to say
anything.
it's not hard if you're fucking
if you think
scared.
You're gonna get fucked up, yeah.
But if you're like, oh my God, I'm like the fourth ring of security. Like nothing is gonna happen without me knowing. Why the fuck am I even up here?
I mean, we weren't even in Iraq. We were the first ring. It's just that we were super complacent because the violence was non-existent.
Right? Yeah.
So I did it like I think I pulled guard like 2 or 3 times, and it was 2 hours on, 2 hours off for a 12-hour shift, and
that's the worst.
It's nighttime. It's Baghdad. It's 2011.
Yeah.
I'm at like Saddam Hussein's main palace. Like nothing's gonna go on. Like these Intel problems, right? Like I could be making a product right now. I could be building PowerPoints instead of doing this shit. And like I had to go do that in between doing guard every 2 hours.
I'd rather be on guard than making PowerPoints.
I would rather make PowerPoints, but that's our job.
I can't tell you how enthused I was when we landed on Spare One Guard, and I looked around and I saw those Afghan security contractors, and I was just like, "Fucking thank God!"
I still don't understand how that was a thing.
Afghan security contractors?
Yeah, they were private security.
Not Ugandan?
No, the dude
they
who
were
ran
Afghans.
was a Brit, and the rest of all the dudes were Afghan.
Yeah, it might have been like similar to like what Mahdi Khan had going on up in Ruzgan with his convoy protection racket that he had. I mean, I'm sure it's something similar to that. Mm-hmm. Just basically,
this was a company.
You're allowed. Right. Yeah. It's like
a Gulag or Shirzai company.
I'm sure that some powerful Afghan had a hand in it and made a lot of money from it. So,
no, that's what was weird. The guy that ran it was a SAS guy. He was a British guy. It was his security company. He subcontracted and he hired out the Afghans, and they were good. They were not.
I believe they're good because I've seen like Afghan bodyguards with governors and stuff and everything, and they're good. But like if you hire the right people, but I'm just surprised they would hire Afghans and not a.
I was surprised. I figured it'd be.
I was surprised. Yeah.
I was expecting Ugandans or whatever because the Ugandan guys in Iraq were always pretty solid, and I liked hanging out with them.
Just guys that don't have a reason to kill you, or that can't be easily persuaded to kill you.
Or they're trying to get you to come to Uganda and marry their daughter. So that they're not out to get you.
I always got the impression that our Afghan security was very highly paid.
Yeah, I think that's the differentiation right there. They probably got paid good money.
You'd have to because the Taliban would always be trying to bribe them. You know what I mean? Like that was always.
Whereas the people going on patrol with you were not getting paid at all.
Yeah. They had a crooked commander. They weren't getting shit.
Right.
Oh, I mean, how many times did we have to fill up their Humvees just so they would go on a mission with us, or we'd have to
bribe them essentially.
Bribe them with like basic essentials like food or water or gas just to go on the patrol with us.
That is interesting because I mean, you guys got to see that supply crisis firsthand because I mean, we all knew that
there was no supply crisis, not in 2012.
But well, I mean, you know what I mean? Is all that supply is being sold off for money for whoever that corrupt commander is.
They had it. They had the stuff. Yeah,
but they wouldn't use it because like, I know like gas and stuff is always getting sold off.
They would. So it was just their excuse.
They had to have been selling it off and making some side money on it. And I know.
Oh, sure.
The further down you went, the worse it got. LP
it was a huge problem in Helmand. The Helmand freaking provincial chief of police was it Peacock Zach?
Yeah.
That got in trouble and fired because he had a whole province-wide gas selling scam going on.
Oh man, that's amazing.
So that was when we bring it in, by the trillions of tons and. Have no accountability for it. Like, how the fuck do you account for gas? You don't account for gas.
No.
I mean, on an airport, you can account for gas, but
he was accounting some big bucks for gas.
Oh yeah,
somebody was accounting for it.
I did enjoy like you see them. They get paid. They'll get a stipend every month for vehicle maintenance, and then you see like the trucks, and the trucks are missing like fenders and shit, and they have no tires, and they've never been driven. Like they're just taking parts off and selling it at the bazaar for fucking some pack rupees.
But to be fair, that was like our uniform allowance as an Aptar guy. I mean, how bad did my uniforms get? That was just an extra little bit of money.
I never spent my uniform allowance on uniforms because I was fucking Intel. I never went to the field. I didn't do that shit. I did Intel guy stuff. It's awesome.
It was pretty sad when I lost my uniform allowance.
No.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, when you enter that, even the warrant officers don't get the.
Nope.
Oh, that sucks.
Nothing. You get you get one big one right when you convert.
Okay.
So that you can switch all your enlisted stuff over to officer stuff, but after that initial purchase, done.
Damn.
Well, so that's dumb. It's like, I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, even I know officers are paid. Well, who cares? I mean, they should still have their uniforms furnished. Like that's
exactly.
That's so stupid.
The only thing I ever spent my uniform allowance on were my fucking jump boots, and I never wore them. Fucking waste of money. They're sitting in storage right now.
I spent mine on beer because I joined the army like pretty close to my birthday, so like it's just turned into beer money every year.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because I didn't use mine either because by the time everything kind of started to wear out, it was like, oh, you're going to Afghanistan, so you get all this new shit anyway.
Yeah. And then they switched just to multicam. We had to buy everything on our own.
Oh no, really?
Damn.
Yes.
Wait. So the switch to multicam happened while I was in Afghanistan in the army, and it was like my last year in the army because I got out the next year.
Oh, okay.
So I was still able to wear. I could wear both. Like I could wear my flight suit. I could wear my multicam flight suit, or I could wear whatever the UCP shit I had. So I always wore the flight suit because it's fucking comfortable and thinner.
Hell yeah.
But
But no, you had to support. They never did an issue of multicam to soldiers that were already in. You had to buy it yourself. Or if you were enlisted, you got to use your uniform allowance. But there was a time and I had to try and
it's not multicam. That's another thing too. It was another
Scorpion,
pattern, right?
Scorpion.
So multicam didn't even count. You couldn't use
no
multicam.
multicam counts. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
it was a bridge. It was a bridge solution.
Yeah, you could wear multicam.
I'm so glad I got out before I had to buy new uniforms and shit.
But like,
I
that's
never
surprising that they didn't issue them to you, because my experience was I got out of TRADOC, and then we were deploying in a month, but I was at an SF unit, so they just gave us a bunch of multicam shit. Yeah.
Well, when you deploy, you get all the multicam stuff, and you get to keep that. So if you were lucky to deploy around the time of the transition, you were set. But if you weren't, then you were
I will say that getting back from Afghanistan, I had 60 days left in the Army, and having to transition back into ACUs after wearing multicams, I was just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I want to go out looking like a soldier, not a bag of smashed ass.
Yeah. UCP always looks like a bag of smashed. I have like UCP flight suits, and even those look terrible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because the flight suit is like tapered, and like
can't shoot.
I remember when I was a brand new private, and we were doing like my first field training exercise, and we were doing bounding, like squad assault or platoon assault. I can't remember. I washed it all out of my brain, but we were basically doing like bounding fires, and
all that core is just taking it away.
It definitely shoots holes through it. Yeah, but I remember it was right at the edge of dusk, and when you get to the edge of dusk, and certain colors are like really, really announced. Like somebody's wearing like a white T-shirt off in the woods, you can really see them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I could just see these blobs of just like white gray matter just bounding through the forest of Fort Stewart, and I just remember thinking like, this shit's gonna get me killed, man. Like you could just see it plain as day. It's such a hot garbage of camouflage.
We've run pretty long. I don't want to like keep you guys on here, but one last thing just for fun. Or if you guys want to, I just want to talk to you guys. Coolest camo patterns in history. Top
God's plaid is a classic.
Rhodesian brushstroke.
Rhodesian brushstroke. Badass.
Mossy oak.
A tiger stripe.
So are we talking about coolest or best?
Coolest.
100% coolest.
Coolest. I got to go with the Rhodesian.
I got some Rhodesian brushstroke silkies, man. They are awesome.
That's the coolest looking.
Okay.
Tiger stripe's pretty badass.
It's pretty badass.
Vietnam tiger stripe, not Air Force uniform tiger stripe.
No, and you got like upland. There's like the upland tiger stripe and the lowland tiger stripe. I think, and the upland stuff's pretty badass.
But
yeah.
I have to say the best is multicam.
I
like multicam.
Multicam's good.
Cool. It looks good, most functional, and it works in the most number of environments.
Like I remember another anecdote about camouflage. I was in the trucks waiting for the rest of our platoon to mount back up, and I knew they were moving to us, and I'm looking for them. I'm like, where the hell are these guys? And all of a sudden, one of them pops out of the tree line, and they were like 50 meters away, and then there was already 3 or 4 of them like down in the grape rows and stuff, and I couldn't see them because of the multicam, and they were in full kit. So testament to multicam.
I only had one. So we had to do like some sort of like. Curtis, you did a way more advanced version of this, but like anybody that was like doing any aviation at Fort Hood before we deployed had to do like a search and rescue course out at basically simulate you're down, and you have like a big, I can't even remember what it was, like a big radio thing that you could talk to, and it could direct you to waypoints and stuff. The C-cell, that's right. Yeah, thank you. And we had to use that. So like you got put in, like it'd be like you and whoever you're deploying with. So it'd be like you'd have like a crew, like you'd have the 2 pilots and you and another, and you had to like figure out how to like get from point A to point B, and then you got picked up by a Black Hawk at the end or something. But people were looking for you the whole time, and the multicam kicked ass because you had to be real quiet. But like you could hear footsteps coming, and we would all just like lay down in the fields and stuff, and they'd like walk right next to you, and you're just like, this shit works. I just thought it was like kind of bullshit, but they'd walk right next to you in a way.
Yeah, I got to do SEER school and UCPs, so
where's he at? He's 500 meters that
right
way.
There. There was actually an entire segment of SEER school that was dedicated to how to make your UCP not suck.
Wow.
Or suck less.
Roll around in the mud like Arnold Schwarzenegger Predator.
That was part, like they're like take it out, roll it in the mud. Like there was a whole thing about distressing the ACUs, so you like made it less sucky. You couldn't make it completely not suck, but there was an entire block of training about it.
There's one thing worse than the ACUs, and that's the Navy's blue ACUs.
Oh God!
If I go overboard, I want to blend in with the ocean.
Yeah. My favorite Joe conspiracy theory is like, no, if you go into the ocean, it turns orange.
They turn pink or orange. Yeah, I heard that. That's like private news network.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's like some, yeah.
You know, some like fucking junior seaman or whatever the fuck they're called tried it out.
Yeah, went swimming at the beach and his
found out that was not the case.
Yeah.
You guys fucking lied.
How did we all hear that same thing? Because I was at DLI. It was it was Marines, Navy, Air Force, Army, and so like the Navy. I mean, there, that was a rumor going on. And I would be like, does it really turn orange? Like, hell no, it doesn't turn orange. Well, I saw you wash your hands. It doesn't turn orange.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that's like one of those rumors that evolved out of necessity.
Yeah,
like because
like the saltpeter rumor.
Yeah, because it's so stupid.
Oh, you didn't go to a multi-gender basic training, so you don't know the saltpeter.
The saltpeter that they put it in your food to make you not get boners or have any sexual thoughts. Yeah. Basic training.
Based on the females found in my bay, it was not working.
Incorrect.
Based on the sleeping bag in my bay, it was definitely not working.
Yeah.
I don't know why you assume, since we went to a male-only basic training, that boners weren't a problem.
Getting it on. Yeah.
It's infantry, guys.
But that is interesting. I don't remember ever being sexually aroused one time in basic training.
Nope.
I
remember thinking that was strange.
Yeah,
like no morning wood.
Think you get hard.
I've heard you don't want to lean up against the inside of a guard tower.
No, you don't.
The guard towers were almost as disgusting as the floors of our outdoor showers on Spring Guard.
The answer is no, because I am a fobbit. Yeah. Minus the one time I went to Mahalik, but even then, no.
Mahalik, no. That Mahalik is like the Uber fob.
It is. Yeah. I was so pissed.
It's the Shire for fobbits.
So it's like, so I was a Kandahar analyst, right? And the deputy too is like, "Hey, you want to come with us to Mahalik?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go up to Mahalik." I mean, I knew what it was, and like we're going to go talk to the analyst there. We're going to do a little intel share. I'm like, "Cool, that sounds awesome," right? And so I go up there, and it's fucking like a 4-hour meeting. I was not expecting the CIA to fucking share any intel with me. And you go, okay, what do you have, Zach? And then that would be great. But we talked for like 4 hours. It was great. And like afterwards, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go have beers. I'm like, fuck yeah, we're gonna have beers. But my fucking boss was there, and he was like, I'm more of a cider guy. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to bed. I was not happy. But they had eggnog in fucking April, and it was awesome.
I could go on for hours about the quality of life.
So the CIA, like the head chef or whatever for Afghanistan, happened to be at Mahalik the weekend I was there. Oh, I had like empanadas for breakfast. They had steak every night, right? But I had like barbecue chicken 2 different ways, and I got to climb the little crag on the outside. Like, it was fucking cool.
So what does all this have to do with masturbation?
Nothing.
It doesn't. So the planes we flew on, though, there were always salacious relationships between people on the airplanes, and the rumor was, a lot of people got laid on those airplanes.
That's the literal Mile High Club.
Dude, that's the best place. Like when you're on a fob, and there are very few places that you can go to do the deed and not get caught.
Or not
on the secure airfield in an airplane that no one else is supposed to be on is real high on the list.
That's true.
Well, remember, there was a big blow up like 10 years ago when like the chick that was a Philadelphia Eagles cheerleader became a Fet. Yeah. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being? Yeah, and this is 2012. There's no integration in combat troops, and you're on your base at Spurwangar, and like not a deployment 10, but a real 10 comes onto your base, and you're like, oh my god! Like, what am I going? Like, oh my!
Like a little mandala behind her, just resonating light.
Absolutely.
I don't want to brag.
Have you seen the?
But my Chargers only got a 14% interest.
But have you seen the pictures of her in uniform? I'm like, oh my god, you're beautiful in uniform. How do you do that?
I remember like reading the article, and in my head, because I am a rational human being, go, okay, cool, she's very pretty, and she's in the Army. That's awesome, right? But then you go into the Army, and that's just not how it fucking works.
Right?
No.
Because that would be too fucking easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
In the infantry world, the standards go down even more. So, you talk about a bunch of dogs, man. Them boys was shameless. And I kept my standards, but them boys was just plumb shameless. Like, there were some times where I would be so deeply accosted, I had to clinging to my Southern Baptist upbringing a little bit just to get through it. I'm telling you.
and this is in boys. This is in Hinesville, Georgia.
Oh,
so
yeah.
when we say like they brought home like some questionable talent, it's not just like questionable talent. You're talking about questionable talent out of a questionable pool.
Yeah,
you know, like
you're talking Hinesville is the cesspool, anyways. So
right,
and it was the bottom of the trough for Hinesville, with the exception of Chad Prindle.
Yes, yeah, he had a really
he had a good track record.
Is Hinesville that much worse than Columbus?
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah,
yes.
significantly so.
Yes.
I only spent a week there, so
million times. Yes. Columbus has. So with Benning being like a training base, and there's a huge civilian presence there, it's a lot of transitory because of the basic training. There's like that one brigade of 3rd ID there, but they're kind of segregated. But when you have like an entire division, and the only thing outside that gate is like an Applebee's and a strip club, man, like I know it's come a long way since then, but Hinesville is rough.
So
Hinesville would cease to exist if
let me paint a word picture for you guys, and then maybe this can be it. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching this. But so there was a strip club in Hinesville. It was called the Silver Dollar. Curtis never got to see it in its glory days because when we got back from Iraq, they had built a new building. But before Iraq, yeah, and I'm not exaggerating, we called it the Rusty Nickel. So you go to the Rusty Nickel, and it was a parking lot, and it was one of those places like it was a gravel parking lot on the side of a state highway. And I remember walking around talking on the phone outside and being legitimate. We were worried about getting eaten by an alligator. Like that's how swampy it is. And you go in, and you know those like rent-a-shack things you can get from Lowe's, like the prefab shacks. It was literally like the front half was one of those things, and they had cut the back wall off and like jerry-rigged a single-wide trailer onto the back of it. And when you walked into the door, the door was so low you literally had to duck to get into this place. And there was just some methed out redneck that patted you down, make sure you weren't carrying any weapons. And on to the right was a plywood bar about 6 feet long, and it was just like bottles of warm liquor and shitty beer. And now to the left was the stage, but the stage was so small that like if you took a hop, you'd probably hit your head on the ceiling. And then the single wide behind it all was a couple of wore out pool tables. So that's Hinesville, Georgia.
Yeah,
sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm.
In the week that sounds amazing, but in the week that I was at Benning, I did not make it through airborne school because there were a billion cadets. And 2 privates who put water on their parachutes married strippers. So, I guess an average Saturday in Benning.
Yeah,
downtown Columbus is actually fairly nice. Like, there's some good restaurants. I
don't know if they got the strippers from downtown Columbus.
No, they guaranteed they did not.
They hit Victory Boulevard and called it good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Everything off of Victory. And now I'm going to paint a word picture for you guys. It's 2 words. It's simple. It's called Ranger Joe's.
Ranger Joe's.
Ranger Joe's.
I haven't thought about Ranger Joe's.
Ranger Joe serve a like questionable status in Vietnam era, and then came back and made a really sketchy establishment.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's where you went to get your tactical gear.
Oh,
yeah, get your LBEs from
Bragg had what, Stu? General Jackson's?
Yeah.
That was our Ranger Joe's.
That was a spot. There were a bunch of smaller surplus stores.
Oh, there's so many fucking surplus stores at Bragg.
Yeah.
How else are you going to make that down payment on your Charger, dude? You got to auction off that
T850 ain't cheap, bro.
You got to marry the stripper so that she makes it for you.
It's true. Mm-hmm. When you're an E2 in the infantry and you're single, that the money that stripper brings in is not insignificant.
No,
it's like 4 times what you bring home per week.
Yeah, minimum. And that's the girl. And that's the girl that 3 kids and 4 drug habits ago might have been high school hot in 1998.
Well, I would hope you were at least. I hope you were at least considerate when you were at the Silver Dollar or the Rusty Nickel, and when you saw that C-section scar, you threw an extra 20 and said for the kid.
Oh yeah, well, that was when I made because I was a young kid then, and that's when I made the mistake of looking strippers in the eyes.
Ooh, no.
It's like that's like the worst possible place to do it.
She likes me. No,
Yeah.
she doesn't.
Yeah, not a good place to fall in love, the rusty nickel.
No, I looked into her eyes and I was like, wow, I feel a deep pit of sadness at the base of my stomach.
So when we came back, our squad leader, who had gotten blown up in Afghanistan, was a bartender at the new Silver Dollar, which wasn't any nicer. It's a little bit nicer, but it wasn't like anything that anybody should be proud of. It like a stage, a pole, and a bar, and it was very small. But like he had like somehow like this E6 had like a side gig bartending at a strip club, and I'll never forget. We took one of our younger Joes in who just swore up and down that he had pussy left and right.
Which one?
Tallman.
And
I'll never forget like watching this kid at the bar. We gave him a stack of ones, and he just looked at his very first stripper, and there was no method to the madness. He just started taking ones and putting them on the stage. We're like, bro, stop. She's got to do something. Like
it's an art form.
It's an art form. You can't just give it to her.
Yeah, there's an exchange here. Yeah.
He was in love. It was love at first sight, and it changed his life.
I think I went with you guys that night.
I think you did. It was something to behold.
So I live in Idaho, which is like South Alaska, right? And I remember my last job. Like it's super conservative out here. They really love the military, but they don't know fuck all about it. There's an Air Force base like an hour west of where I live now. Mm-hmm. But like at my last job, I worked with some guy, and he's a gun nut. He's a gun nut to the point that I was trying to get my dad to upsell him an M1 Garand because I know that he would have paid like $5,000 for a $2,400 rifle because he's an idiot. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Well, what'd you do in the Army?" So I was an intelligence analyst. He's like, "Oh, okay. So, well, what was your rank?" Like, I was a sergeant. He's like, "Oh shit. Fuck it." Like, that's the least impressive thing I've ever done in the military was achieve the rank of sergeant. Like, it's a star MOS. It's nothing.
A sergeant, like from Band of Brothers? Whoa.
Yeah.
So people know nothing about how the military works. So if you tell them that you were in intelligence, they just assume you're like James Bond. Like, I mean, 100%. That's the assumption. And you know what? The best thing to do is just not correct anybody.
No, absolutely.
Like, you know the funny thing, that's how the Army fucking sells intel too.
That's true.
Like, it is.
So when I was going to the recruiter, I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. I wanted to join the Air Force, but the fucking Air Force recruiter was golfing for 9 months, so I decided to hit up the Army recruiter, and he's like, "Here, man, yeah. So we got these got a few options here. You can check out our website, and they have fucking videos on there, like introing the different MOSs. And the one for 35 Fox, I'll never forget this. This guy fucking came out, and he's talking to the interviewer or whatever, and there's like a break in the interview, and then it comes back, and he's like, "Yeah, sometimes I do feel like James Bond." And I was like, what the fuck is this?
So he's like putting a silencer on his pistol. And he's like, "Oh, I'm doing this."
I did join the Air Force.
Do you want to get somebody that gullible to go do intel? I think that explains
they got you
stigma of military intelligence.
Oh yeah,
but
got me with the linguist thing.
I didn't buy it. The guy, I actually bought the pitch from the recruiter where he was just like, "Yeah, so there's like 10 of these, and they go really fast, and it kind of sounds like what you want to do." I'm like, I guess I'll give you an airborne contract with it. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, sure.
I did join the Air Force, and that's a story for when I get back from the little boys' room.
Air Force first.
Oh man, there's some good Air Force. Man, I've run into some great Air Force jobs. Like I flew with a guy in 2017 whose job in the Air Force, he was an MWR bartender.
No.
Yes.
You're joking.
What?
100%.
Really?
That was his job.
Like MOS?
MOS. I don't know what the exact MOS was, but like his MOS was like
officer or something.
Morale support, whatever. But he was stationed in Qatar, and like his job was to run the MWR.
Oh yeah. You know what? Because we instead
awesome.
of going back through Kuwait, since it was a joint Air Force Army operation or the aviation unit there, the Air Force was like, "Well, we can get you back through Qatar or whatever, and it's going to be faster to get back home." Mm-hmm. And we're like, "Oh yeah, it wasn't faster because the plane engine broke down." But so we go to Qatar, and they have booze in Qatar, and you can drink beer.
Yep.
Only two of them, and they check your ID and they scan your cat card and all that. And I bet he was one of those guys, like that does that because he can. Yep, Air Force guys are okay. Interesting. Yep. I didn't realize that. I just didn't even cross my mind that was a job he had in the Air Force.
And when he wasn't working at the bar, he was working at like the actual like MWR center, renting out DVDs and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
People ask me like about joining the military, especially when I was in college, and be like, "Oh, I thought about joining." I said, well, I said, if you want to see the world, join the Navy. If you want to go to cool places in the world and live for longer periods of time, join the Air Force. If you want to see the shitholes of the world, join the Army. Yep. So that's a classic Air Force job right there. Go pour drinks in Qatar or in Kazakhstan or wherever.
So I tried my hand at college. I was very smart. I graduated second in my class in high school. Even though it wasn't a very good high school, I was a smart person. Went to college, and it turns out when you're 2,400 miles away from your parents and there's like mom and dad, especially dad, isn't there to put his foot up your ass, you don't go to class. And so like I left the University of Arizona with a 1.56 GPA, bear down, go Wildcats. I come home and my parents, who are both retired from the Army, go, you need to join the Air Force. Your quality of life will be better. So, okay. So I joined the Air Force as an intelligence, whatever they called it. And I go to MEPS, I sign my paperwork, and the recruiter's like, I got this guy, he has to lose like 12 pounds in the next week. Because I guess in the Air Force, you had to meet the height, weight standards to even fucking ship. I'm like, okay, well, I don't think he's going to make that. So the person who will become my first wife flies out to see me before I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go there. And he's going to tell me that I got the slot and all that shit. And I show up, my first wife flies out and we go to the recruiter. I'm 19. So he's like, yeah, he didn't make his weight, but I gave it to somebody else. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, I'm living on my fucking parents' couch. So I had to write my congressman to get a discharge from the Air Force and all that shit. Go to the Army recruiter, like, hey, I got like a 130 something on my GT. He's like, oh, what do you want to fucking do? And I go to my parents. I'm like, I think I'm going to do either intel or infantry. And my dad, a retired infantryman, goes, you would be a fucking moron to go infantry. Like, well, I guess I'm going intel then.
Dad steered you right.
It's funny.
Probably.
We were actually talking about right before you guys came on was that the highest GT score I've ever come across was an infantryman.
Mm-hmm. Infantry have the highest average. I think they're right above intel.
Yeah, it's
they tend to be smarter than they are given credit. That's for sure.
Well, it's because they're either. And I'm going to use Ronnie Morgan's analogy. He's either the genius that invented the light bulb, or he's the guy in the corner eating the light bulb. And there's no middle ground.
No.
Yeah. Or to be maybe more apropos, he's the guy in the corner sticking the light bulb up his ass.
See, that one's not as good as because I can think of some scenarios where infantrymen have put light bulbs up their asses. I 100% guarantee you that's happened.
Oh yeah,
I'm 100%. Sure there have been some 35 series that have done that.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when you're bored and lonely in a skiff somewhere and watching a drone go around in circles.
I mean, there's definitely a bell curve. Like some of the dumbest people I've ever met were intel too. So it varies.
There are a lot of dumb intel people, and I'll tell you why. Okay, so I had like 4 or 5 guys that reclassed into 35 Fox. I think we were like the third class that wasn't 96 Bravo, and they were all failed EOD trainees, and every last one of them was a fucking idiot. And they're like, "Oh, I joined and I want to do EOD because I want to blow shit up," but they had no like basic concept of math or science,
or the fact that the job is to not blow the shit up most of the time.
But this is 2008, so their recruiter didn't care. It's just about getting fucking people to sign paperwork. Just the dumbest people. And they became 35 Foxes. They became intel analysts. Like, this is terrible. And the whole reasoning was, I think EOD has a TS clearance or whatever.
They do.
And, so like when you don't make it through a school, you get, here's the schools you can go to because we've already spent the money on your clearance. Instead of going, you're an idiot. Maybe you should go and be a fucking 92F, a fueler. Like you're gonna go and be an intel analyst instead because we spent the money on your investigation.
Smartest people I ever met in my entire life were the guys I went to DLI with. I mean, I went to with some sharp people because we all joined the Army during the height of that recession, like in 2000, like from 2008 or 9 to like 2011 or 12. And literally everybody at DLI, they all had college degrees, and all the officer slots were full. You couldn't get a slot to OCS to save your life, and they all went to language school to either pay off their college loans they had or just buy time until they could find something else. Those guys were the most depressed people I've ever met my entire life, but also some of the smartest motherfuckers, and none of them are still in.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than being an incredibly intelligent person in the Army.
That's why I got out, obviously.
That's what Hunter S. Thompson said in one of his letters when he was in the Air Force. He's like, this is not a place for intelligent people.
I found myself reflecting on it this today, because I was thinking after our conversation with Rusty Bradley last night, and that was like the life I wanted, be an SF guy. And that was in the heyday of SF and their gun trucks and things like that. And I was like, there's a part of me that I always think, man, like, there's a part of me that always felt like I maybe missed my chance on that. But then I really think about it, and I'm like, but I hated it so much. Like, why did I hate it so much? And it's because I was too smart to be in the military. Like, that's all it was. Like, I just couldn't handle the level of stupidity that it required on a day-to-day basis. Like, I didn't have that. Some people were really smart and can handle it. I just could not handle the level of stupidity.
You have to move. If you're going to be smart and be in the military, you have to move away from the entry-level positions. You cannot be an infantryman. You cannot be... like even just a pilot, like pilots in the Army just aren't treated well. Like you have to be an officer, you have to be a leader, you have to get the opportunity to exercise your brain in some way. But if you're just enlisted or you're just like guy following orders, like
sucks.
It just sucks. Like because the person giving you the order is a fucking idiot.
Yeah. And you know what sucks though is like at DLI at least. So I was a Korean linguist. So in order to get that slot, you had to score a high. They do this fake language test. It's the weirdest test I've ever taken in my entire life. And it's a fake language. And you have to be able to identify like nouns and verbs and shit in this. And it's all made up. And it's like made up by some like, geniuses somewhere at Yale or something. Anyway, so you take it and then they give you a score and then you classify into a language based on how far away it is from English to learn. And so you score high enough on it that you're going to get an Asian language or Persian Farsi. Right. And so I get Korean because obviously Kim Jong-il had just died like a year before. So, and of course, this is a super hard to finish school. It's a year and a half long. Like most people fail out of the course. And I do all this shit. And then you find out as you're going to DLI, you learn a little bit about the history of DLI. Like when it first started, you came out of DLI like as a second lieutenant, like straight out of DLI. Like you got a commission to go there, right? And now you're coming out as like an E4, out of DLI. And in order to pass it, you have to be fairly intelligent to pass the school.
Yeah.
To begin with. And you're coming out as an E4, and then you've been in TRADOC for fucking a year and a half learning a fucking language. And then you actually have to go to the Army. And by that point, you're depressed as shit. Because what's also happened is while you've been in Korean schoolhouse learning all this shit, the Army has made a deal with any native Korean speaker in the Army to fill all these linguist positions they had, right? So while you're in the training pipeline, what happened is anybody that could speak Korean natively, and there's a lot of native Koreans in the U.S. Army, they were given an opportunity to switch and get a clearance to be a linguist. And all they had to do was complete the follow-on training at Goodfellow Air Force Base for like the tactical is a buzzword, but like the SIGINT Lights course, yeah. And you had to go through that, and they did it. And so when you come out, they're already far ahead of you in the promotion line because they've been in the Army. Koreans stay in the Army forever. Like all Koreans, like they're in there forever, and they're never getting out. So they've hogged all those slots. So you've literally spent all this time and training and money, and there's no way you're getting promoted. So everybody I know, they left the Army as soon as their time was up. They're done, and they're not doing it anymore. It's like what a wasted money.
Are Koreans in the Army kind of like Filipinos in the Navy? So that
they stay forever, dude. Some of the longest running like platoon sergeants and stuff I had. Like I mean, these guys were like. They'd been in forever, and they're all like, all Koreans. And it's like they love the Army. I don't know why. I really don't.
I always felt pretty lucky that I was able to do my job like from day one. I got to Fort Bragg, and I met the 18th Airborne Corps Ace, right? And I don't have to worry about doing soldier shit. I'm doing intel like from day one. I was originally like a Southcom analyst, and I became like a Somalia subject matter expert. Then we go to Iraq, and like all I ever had to do was my job. Never went to the field. Never did all the other bullshit. Did staff duty every now and then. When I look at my Army time frame, my Army career, the whole 7 years of it, very average, very boring. I just got to do my job. Like I left Bragg. I go to Lewis. I go to First Corps, and I originally had orders to their ace. I ended up going to the 2 shop doing weird D shit for like 2 months until they get back and like learning the admin side of it. And then after that, I slide back over to G2, doing real world intel and all that shit. And so, like, if I could have kept doing that, I stay in, right? But the hours were just absolute dog shit. And, you know, I didn't like who I worked for. So I didn't have to worry about that, you know, that pipeline. Because I came in 2008, like right at the beginning of that recession. Like I was going to school with, in AIT, there were 3 master's degrees in AIT. Like it was fucking crazy. Just like the people that just absolutely needed a job, and they all got out, and which helped me when I got to my next duty station. It's just fucking insane. Just how educated the Army was from 2008 to like 2012-ish, 2013.
Yeah.
And they couldn't hold on to those people because the Army...
Why would they stay?
Why would they stay? But then the Army is just so structured and rigid that it didn't entice people to stick around. But there were people in the intel field that I worked with that had a similar career path as me who did stick around because it was more doing intel and less doing soldier shit. Like I fucking hate it. Like I know my mom's listening. I did not enjoy being a soldier. I fucking love being an intel analyst. So I could do that shit all day. But they doing the soldier stuff, like sergeant side training, shut the fuck up. I don't have time for that. Let's learn some PMISI, some A-scope, and let's figure out how to win a war. Like that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I think the key to being happy in the Army, like the majority of the time, is to just randomly get assigned to an SF unit. Because I was pretty happy with it. I mean, call them SF babies. Like you fucking just get assigned to this like awesome unit, and you're like guaranteed to deploy a lot. And like when we got, and they're quick deployments, so we do 6-month deployments, and then you're back home for a year, and then you're back out again. So there isn't a lot of like downtime for the stupid Army shit. So I was pretty happy with it. Yeah,
I volunteered for anything I could to get out of Fort Hood. Because I would leave Korean training, you know, and I'd get assigned to fucking Fort Hood. But thank God it was an aviation unit, and they had opportunities to get on board a spy plane. And they were like, but everybody's such a, like, nobody would volunteer for it. And I would be like, I'll do it. Like I'll go to the altitude chamber. I'll do all this other shit. I'll get all these little certifications. I'll go get my blood taken 3 times a year for my flight physical. I don't care. Get me out of this hellhole. Like I will get on a plane you bought off eBay. I do not care how many engine hours are on it. Just get me out of Fort Hood.
I think
do it.
I would be permanent party anywhere except for Port Polk before Fort Hood. Like I send me fucking anywhere. Send me to Fort Drum so I can freeze my ass off. I'm not going to Fort fucking Hood. I spent 2 weeks at Fort Hood and it was fucking miserable. The second to last day there was when that major shot at the goddamn Soldier Resource Center. Like that was fucking insane. And we were there 15 minutes before it happened. Like fuck that dude. Fuck that base. They need to shut that fucker down and fire everybody from battalion commander and up because there's clearly a problem and nobody has addressed it in 10 fucking years. 15 years.
Zach, how do you feel about Fort Hood?
Fort Hood can fuck off and die.
I always said if you wanted to like do a strategic bombing campaign along that section of 190 that runs through Colleen and the surrounding towns, to wipe out everything, it would be fine.
Just take all of, was it Bell County or whatever it's called? Just take it all. Yeah. Take it all.
Bomb it to the end.
And I've talked to my sister who was also stationed at Fort Hood, and she agrees. That place can all just fucking just fall off the face of the earth.
Well, I think I'm going to offer up one little thing on the job front, and then I'm going to go because I'm sleepy. I'm time for bed. And we set to fucking midnight last night podcasting. So
yeah.
But not to digress, but the structural problem in the infantry is that you don't get to do the job. You know, like you I would say that 97% of the time you're not actually doing the job because of all the barriers that are in the way. Like when I would look back on my 4.5 years in the infantry and 2 deployments, the best training that I got was OSIT in infantry school because every day we were just doing infantry stuff. We're putting on, throwing on a rucksack, walking to a range, shooting and not in your full kit and not it was like shooting, going to the shoot houses, going out and crawling around in the mud. Like we were just doing the infantry stuff, and it was the best training that I had in the entire time I was there. The training that I had between deployments was essentially worthless because we were mechanized, so we were training on Bradleys. But even that amount of time that we actually spent training, all the focus was on tanks and Bradleys. Well, the actual dismounted infantry guys, just fucked off in the woods somewhere, and that was such a small percentage of your time because you spend so much of your time dealing with the mundane idiocy of it, because you've got a command structure from the company commander up, unless you got a good CO, who is more worried about whether your right blinker on the front of your car works than they are about you being able to engage a target at 200 meters. And so, in the infantry, you are constantly throttled from doing the actual job, and it creates a mire of misery and complacency. And then that mire, it encourages complacency. So by the time 2009 and 10 and 11 and 12 rolled around, 90% of the guys who were E5 and above were dudes who were content to sit on their fucking ass and do nothing because they could get an easy paycheck for being a fat piece of shit. And so that was like the entire NCO corps of 3rd ID was fat pieces of shit who sat in a Bradley and thought they were fucking badasses because they shot up a bunch of civilians in Iraq in 2003. And so you ended up with this culture that was just fucking shitty all the time. And it was so miserable.
My experience with people who wear the 3rd ID combat patch who are not infantry is fat piece of shit. So I believe you.
Yeah, I mean, 3rd ID is fat pieces of shit. Yeah. Like that is 3rd ID.
But I mean, the topic at hand is not restricted to 3rd ID. Soldiers are happy when they do their job. If you're a fueler and you're fueling every day, that's what you signed up to do, then you're happy doing it. In general, if you're an infantryman and you're doing infantry stuff every day, you're happy. If you're a pilot and you're flying every day, you're really happy. None of that happens.
That's a huge issue in the intel world, and I'm sure we'll have an episode on it eventually when we talk about just like military intelligence. But like, there's a whole half of the MI Corps that doesn't do their job every day, and it's bad for the Army, it's bad for their development, and it's bad for any war effort, right? But yeah, like I said, I was fortunate enough. I'm sure Kyle and Stu, given where you guys were, we all got to do our job every fucking day, so it was pretty damn nice. But there are a lot of people in the MI field who don't do their job at all. Like when the 82nd rolled in, and it was a MICO, and they didn't have accounts for like standard, like basic things like M3 or Hot R, which are basic like search. What's the word I'm looking for, Stu? It's search sites.
Database.
Yeah, search engines. Yeah, databases. Like they didn't have accounts for that. They didn't have fucking computers. And within a week of them showing up, their sergeant major had them out do an area beautification in Kandahar instead of doing their fucking job as intel analysts.
Yeah. I mean, it says a lot when you gather for the battalion formation and you've been in garrison for 16, 18 months and you're about to fucking walk in front of a bus. And the battalion commander says, guess what, guys? We're going to a war zone. And instead of being like, oh, fuck, you're like, fuck, yes, finally. I'm getting out of Fort Stewart. Like, I can't wait to go to Kandahar and get shot at by the Taliban because I was so sick and tired of being here. Like, that says a lot about the organizational issues there, man.
That's a good place to close, too. If you're if you're a military leader and you're watching this, and God bless you if you are.
SecDef.
Yeah, he's definitely not watching.
He should.
Dudes and chicks should be doing their fucking jobs. And if you have so many infantrymen that you can afford not to hire fucking landscapers on your base, maybe you need fewer infantrymen and more landscapers.
Yeah. Bam.
Just saying.
Close
all right,
up.
I think that's a good place to close.
That is a great point. Good job, Curtis. That's a great statement right there. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining us today and joining the Panjwai Podcast today.
In the great crossover, and not the RAV4 kind.
No. No,
more like a Subaru or
definitely a Subaru Outback.
Yeah. I've got a cross track because of course I do. Right?
We'll have to have you guys on again. This was fun.
Yeah,
man, we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, it was fun, guys. That was a good chat.